Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of From Page to Stage. I'm your host, Wendy Corner, and this podcast is for you if you are an entrepreneur. Yes, page and stage come together in entrepreneurship. And you may be going, what? Well, have you got a book out? It may be a contributory book out, it may be a solo book out, maybe you've got a regular blog. If you're an entrepreneur, you've got socials, haven't you? And what's that if it's not published work? Tick that box. What about the stage thing? A lot of people come to me and go, oh, I can't do public speaking. And I go, okay. Can you have a one-on-one conversation with somebody? Yeah. Then you can do a podcast, just like we're doing here. Is that a stage? Yes, it is a stage. Anyway, that's what we're offering. So if you're an entrepreneur and you're thinking, oh, stage, come and join us. Come and be featured on From Page to Stage. Then you can share your special sauce with the world, wider world than your present one. That done? Oh, I am so chuffed. I really mean that. I am so chuffed to have this gentleman on the other end of our Zoom call. Chris Hanlon and I have known each other must be a couple of years now, only ever in Zoom land. Now, to start with, he was only over the ditch. For those of you who don't know, the ditch is the body of water between Australia and New Zealand. But now I'm in Mexico and he's still the other side of the ditch. Only it's a much bigger ditch because we're now calling it the Pacific Ocean. Chris, share a bit more. Well, our audience doesn't necessarily know you. So can you give us a bit of an indication of who you are and how you got to be where you are today?
Okay, cool. So my name's Chris Hanlon. I have been, I guess, most pertinent to what we're talking about today is that I've been coaching TEDx speakers for the past 10 years. So 2015, we started TEDx-worthy. Well, 2014, really. I think the first year of the event was 2015. So yeah, a decade of coaching TEDx speakers. So I've coached around 100 in that time. And I don't have I will tell you this, I don't have a great book story. I decided I think it was 2008 to write a book. And I did because I wanted to know how it was done. And so this was before the Kindle had come out. It was before, and it was using Create Space, which then later on got bought by Amazon. So I wrote a book. I've got a copy here. Don't buy it. It's a terrible book. But I just wanted to know that I could do it and how to do it and what I was doing. So it was a great experience. Yeah, tick that box. I should actually write a proper book now that I've got stuff to say, I guess.
It would be fantastic. I would love to see what you produce.
Yes. So, but yeah, so I started coaching these TEDx speakers, built up a framework that I use for TEDx speakers. And I coach TEDx speakers. I coach startup entrepreneurs for the local startup accelerator. So helping them to pitch for investments and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And really, it's not your general speaking thing, as you know very well. TEDx is like a do or die mission. You learn this thing very well, and same with the pitching for investment, because you may never get those investors back in the same room at one time, and so it's got to happen, and it's got to be right the first time. You've got one shot at this. So it's a very it is. It's a grueling preparation for that. And it's not what you would do for everything. I do a lot of other workshops and stuff. I don't do that sort of preparation for that sort of thing. But when you've got something that really matters, this is the framework I work with. And it gets to people to the point where they're absolutely sick of their talk before they give their first one. And you know what I mean by that.
Oh, I do. Yeah. Audience, if you don't already know, I was head speaker coach with University of Western Australia's TEDx team for 5 years. One of our, if I can just interject at this point, one of our groups, excuse me, we had the draw card because we had top and tail of the card was always a draw card. Somebody who was famous. Well, one of the guys was a Channel 7 anchor. And the one rehearsal I missed that year, he decided that he would take over, he would have some fun. And he got everybody to start their talk because we heard them all to death and people were beginning to get bored with their own talks. And then it worked out that we would go, I wasn't there, they would go tap somebody on the shoulder and the next person would carry on the first person's talk. And that's how it went round because the point of it was, what do I as a punter take out of your talk? I've heard it that many times, but what's really landing with me? What a fabulous way of doing it. But
that is interesting.
two rehearsals out from the final thing, we're not going to be changing it, honestly.
No, and you don't want to be you don't want to add that. It would be a great thing to do afterwards.
Yes.
I will say I had somebody last year. So for the last couple of years, I've been doing TEDx University of Waikato. We started off with TEDx Ruakura, which basically died in COVID. So our last event was the last day of lockdown in New Zealand. So
Ruakura died or Waikato?
Ruakura died.
Right.
Because the following day we could have done the event, but that day was the last day of lockdown, so we're only allowed 50 people in the building. So it's 10 or 12 speakers, their partners, the cameramen, the organizers, a couple of friends maybe. That was us. We did have 450 live stream, watched the live stream, which was good. But you know what it was like. It was all voluntary. Everybody just gave up. And so that was the end of TEDx Ruakura. And now I've been doing TEDx University of Waikato. So we did it last year. And Jesse was a young guy. He does this public health statistician type job. And he wasn't real keen on the talk. He got sort of pushed into it. Everybody did that year. But he did a fantastic job. He did the work and it was awesome. And I'm very proud of him. But the thing he said to me afterwards, he goes, you know what, I said, how was the experience? Well, give me some feedback. He goes, the best thing about this, with all the practicing that I did at home, my wife now knows what I do at work. Because she had no idea beforehand, apparently.
Yeah. Bless him. Bless him. Well, I mean, the audience, if you don't know the origins of TED, the original TED was to have the boffins at MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, be able to explain to their colleagues what they did in a non-technical way. The ideas worth sharing, which is the tagline for TED, was always a case of, well, you may have all this wonderful technical information, but how do the Joe public understand it? Make it approachable. So yeah. Oh, that's lovely. What a fabulous story.
Yeah, well, that's the biggest part of what I do. So a lot of people say, oh, you teach people how to be confident on stage. And it's like, that comes along with it. But the real thing is most people, and I'm going to say both the TEDx speakers, so whoever's nominated to speak at TED, they know their stuff. They have it on lock. They're deep in there. And it's the same as well, incidentally, with all the startup founders. They're deep in the research. They know their product. They know their thing. They know the industry to the nth degree. And if you say to them, jump on stage and speak for 15 minutes on everything that you know, two things happen. One of two things happens. Either verbal diarrhea and they just spray out all this stuff that doesn't necessarily connect and the audience is going like this, going, what the hell did I just hear? Or they just freeze and they're like, there's too much. I don't know where to start. I don't know how to connect it. And the problem, and it is interesting now dealing with mostly, well, all academics, because the university is all academics,
university,
right? The interesting thing is that they do tend to try and cover all the bases. And what happens is they go very shallow and very broad, and it
Mhm.
does nothing for anybody. Nobody
Yeah.
wants that. It's not interesting. And this is good for your authors to know as well, because if you're speaking about the book you've written, you know a lot. You've done a lot of research. You don't want to go shallow and broad. You want to go
Yeah.
narrow and deep.
Yes.
And so you find one story of one aspect of your work, your book, whatever it is, and you go really deep with that. And
Yeah.
the idea of these talks, particularly the TEDx talks, and the same with the pitches, is that you don't really want to give them all the information. What you want to do is make them curious. So they want to come back and find out more from you. Yeah, exactly. So these TEDx talks are the on-ramp to your own obsession. That's what I tell them. This is your on-ramp to your obsession. You have the obsession. How are you going to get other people onto that obsession with you? And it should be the
Yeah.
same with your book. Your book should
Yes.
be that one chapter is the one that most people ask me about. So I'm going to do a talk based around that chapter. And yet, obviously, you're going to reference the other bits,
Yeah.
but it'll be obvious that there's more to learn from you. And so they'll go and buy the book, or they'll come and see you, or
Yeah.
whatever it is that you need to do.
Absolutely. And it's also being able to convey your passion for your subject. I mean,
Oh,
you and I both
100%.
sit in networking meetings where occasionally you'll have somebody who talks about happiness and they have a deadpan look and the tone of the voice is a little monotonous. And you go, anybody likely to book this person? I think not.
No.
So it's a
Actually, I've got a story on that if you like.
do.
I won't use names.
No.
So this is back in TEDx-worthy. I can't remember which year now, but we had a speaker. So I'd spoken at a podcasting conference, South Pacific Podcast Conference, and I was emceeing it rather. And this guy spoke there, and it was really interesting. He had done a podcast for young entrepreneurs, and he had really good stories about it. And I was like, this is great. I'm looking for speakers for TEDx-worthy later in the year. He was actually from Hamilton, but he was living in the Gold Coast, I think, or something like that.
Okay.
And his mum was in Hamilton, so he's like, "Oh yeah, no, I'll come over
I'll stop you for
and
a
stay
second.
with me."
Audience, Gold Coast, Australia, Hamilton, New Zealand, just to put some context for you. Different country.
Good point. Good point. That's what we call in TEDx a speed bump. That's when you say something that people won't know what you mean, and you have to explain it. So I'm breaking my own rules. Anyway,
Carry on,
so
sir.
no, good interjection. So that was fine. So we book him as a speaker because I'd seen him speak. It was like we didn't go through all the thing. And he goes, I'm trying to decide what to speak about. I'm like, what do you mean? What are you going to speak about? Like podcast thing. Like I've spoken about that a lot. I think I want to do a talk on mindfulness. Why? I think that's what people want to hear. No, no, that is not what they want to hear. I could not dissuade him. I think this was earlier on in my coaching career
Right.
because I would have just pulled the plug, I think. I should have. But yeah, we let him carry on. He didn't like following the framework, didn't like memorizing things, and gave a very average TEDx talk.
Yeah.
Um, I learned a lot from that because this is the thing. If you're out there and you're thinking about doing a TEDx talk, you want it to be as good as you can make it because you don't want to have that sitting up there and everybody judging you by that talk,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, we all evolve and we all, we'll look
Mhm.
back at a talk we gave a few years ago and go, oh, I'll do a bit better now, or I have a slightly different
Yeah.
perspective. But if you gave the best talk you could at that time, you're fine with it, right?
Yeah.
So,
And it's also got to be a standout topic. I mean, mindfulness has been done to
but
death.
the point was, it it wasn't his topic. It wasn't something he was passionate about. It's something he thought he needed to do. Don't fall into that trap. Don't give the talk you think people need or think people want. Give the talk that you need or you want because it's your story, it's your talk, it's the problem you've wrestled with, that sort of thing. There's some passion there. So yeah, it just made me laugh because he ended up writing a book on how to do a TED talk. And I was like, oh dear, you did the most mediocre TED talk of anyone that we've had. I will have to buy this book and see what you said. Um, it was about as good as you'd expect. So it was not good at all. And he absolutely went off about you shouldn't memorize things. And to be fair, that is the biggest pushback I get
Yes.
when
Yeah.
we talk about this, particularly with academics. They go, I know my stuff, I have it
Yeah.
on a slide, and then I
Yeah.
I read the slide, but I don't read the slide. I just, read the slide. And this is TEDx is a performance. It's
Yes.
not a presentation. It's a
Yes.
performance. And if you went to see Pink in concert and she got out her notes and started reading the song, you would probably want some of your money back
Yeah.
for that concert. Like, it's a performance, and
Yes.
15 minutes sounds like a lot, and it does take a bit of work to memorize 15 minutes. And there's a whole mindset around this memorization. So I want to clear it up a little bit, if you don't mind.
Yes, do.
One of the things is most people, when they memorize, they actually picture the page that they've written in the screen of their mind, and they read it off the screen of their mind.
Yes.
Actually, I only just learned 2 days ago from somebody that dyslexic people can't do that. They can't picture words, and that's why they're
Yeah.
dyslexic, which was
Yeah.
fascinating to me. But anyway, so I thought, so that's what most people think when they think memorization, and that's a hard way to do it.
It is.
The memorization I'm talking about is the way you know a song. If you have a song that you know really well, you hear the bars and you're singing the words.
Yeah.
You know the chorus, you know the verses, and you just sing them. You've
Yeah.
memorized it, but it's a
Yes.
different sort of memory. It's an embodied oral memory rather than a visual memory.
Yes.
So that's what we want to get to. And we drill it and memorize it so we can say it verbatim. So when we're on stage, we don't have to. I don't expect our speakers to say it verbatim. Some of them do, which is fine. And a lot of them will, because you know it so well and you're so comfortable on the stage, you're so present with the audience, you go, I think it'll land better if I do that, switch that bit on the fly. And they can do that because they
Yeah.
know it so well.
Yes.
So yeah, it's not what people think. People say, oh, if I memorize it, it'll be robotic. No, if you memorize it poorly, it would be robotic. If you think about a great comedian that you've gone to see on a big live show, Bill Bailey was here a few weeks ago. I didn't see
Oh,
him this time, unfortunately, but he's wonderful.
yes.
But he will do this exact same thing night after night on his tour. It always seems fresh. It always seems spontaneous to the
Yeah.
audience because he knows it that well.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's not robotic.
Yeah. And also, I mean, the fun thing, I mean, I tend to suggest to my speakers, go and watch someone like Michael McIntyre, who uses the entire stage, and he will prime the audience to drop the punchline in a particular place, and we'll keep going back to it and drop it in a particular place. And sometimes he'll wander over the stage and he'll get to that place and people will laugh, even though he's not said anything particularly funny at that point, because they've
Ah,
already primed the audience.
I
So,
had not seen that.
oh, go back and check some of his stuff. It's
Mm,
really clever. And I mean, I'm very, very fond of Michael McIntyre as a performer. Bill Bailey, I adore. Have you ever
yeah.
seen any of his musical stuff? Sorry, audience,
Yes.
this is a by the by here. Have you seen the Swan done with cowbells?
No, I
Oh,
don't think I have.
oh, I will. Again, audience, forgive me. I'm just sharing a moment with Chris here. I will.
Fangirling. She's
I'll,
fangirling.
I'll send it to you. It's so funny. He's Saint-Saëns the Swan from Young Person's Guide to the Orchestra, full orchestra behind him, the percussion department with a load of cowbells in front of them. And they were going round and round each other and doing the different cowbells at the right time. All hilarious.
Yeah.
Completely
No,
off
he's
the topic.
musically, he's genius.
Oh,
So
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And again,
Anyway,
excuse me, a very clever speaker. Very clever speaker.
yes, yeah.
But as you say,
So
the comics learn their stuff so well that, as you say, every night it appears to be fresh and spontaneous. But that's
yeah,
because they know it, have rehearsed it, to within an inch of its life, but can still bring it on the night.
yeah. And
Yeah.
that's what I say performance. It's performance.
Yes.
And that's the difference. We're not just doing a talk. And there's nothing wrong with doing a lecture or a presentation or some sort of pitch in that way. But when it really matters, when it really counts, if it's going to be on that TED platform for the rest of your
Yes.
life,
Yes.
you want it to be a performance you can be proud of, you know?
I mean, I don't know about you. I had, again, being the academic one, I had one of the professors was assigned to me. And I said, well, should we do some work? Said, I've been lecturing for 25 years. I know how to speak. I said, you do, with a lectern in front of you and a microphone and slides and a captive audience who knows they're going to be assessed on the content. Would you do me a favour? Would you give me 2 sessions with you and then see if you're happy with that? We'll carry on. Okay. After the first one, she said, "It's very different, isn't it?" I went, "It is. Should we carry on?" "Oh yes, please." But it was because the thing is, again, audience, there are different skills, complementary but different skills depending on the situation. Keynotes are certainly different from TEDx's, are different from
Yeah.
workshops, are different from MCs, are different from podcasts. Complementary and different skills required. And
Yeah.
obviously, we're
Yeah.
focusing today on the TEDx, but as you say, you've done the pitching with clients as well.
Well, see, that's my big thing, right? Is that magical feeling. So picture this, you're on the stage, you get up there, you know your talk so well that you are present with the audience through the whole thing. There's no anxiety because you know that talk so well. You're in the moment and time telescopes. It feels like you're there in eternity and it feels like it's over in a split second. And you finish, you get a round of applause, you're leaving the stage, and you actually realize, oh, that's what they mean when they say walking on air, because you can't feel the stage. You're just floating off the stage. And it's a magical feeling. And I really, truly believe everyone should experience that feeling once in their life. And that's what I try to do with all my speakers is you want to have that feeling. And this is how you do it.
Goosey moment just there. And if you can induce that in your audience as well, oh, that is a match made in heaven. It can be floating on air on both of you, all of you. Yeah. Because the thing is,
Yes.
that's the memorable ones, isn't it? I mean, you can be memorable for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
And you can be memorable for all the right reasons. Yeah. I know
And
about you.
it's interesting as a coach too, because it's not always the best performed talk that you're the proudest of. It's the journey they've gone on to get there and how they were at the end. So we had this last one, we've just had 14 speakers go through. We did it in 2 campuses.
Okay.
Shh, don't tell TEDx that we did it on 2 campuses. We did it in Hamilton and Tauranga, but it's for the University of Waikato. And so one of them, Beji, the very first time we did a rehearsal, so it's around 90 days prep, a bit more, I
Okay.
think, to get ready for this. So the very first time he'd written something out, he stood up and he spoke so fast that we couldn't understand him. Like it was ridiculously fast. And I'm like, and he's just nervous. So, we worked on that and we got his talk really crisp, really clean. Got him to do a little bit because he was a little bit monotone. It was just the
Okay.
same throughout. And it was so good. I made him our first speaker of the night because, as you know, your first and your last speaker are your anchor speakers. They're
Yes.
the ones that people it's going to set the stage, and that's what they're getting into the car and
Yeah.
leaving with.
Yeah.
So he was the first speaker of the day, and he just knocked it out of the park. He was just fantastic. I'm just back there. Yes. So
It,
yeah, yeah,
it really
it's
lights you up as a coach, doesn't it? When
oh,
you,
yeah,
particularly as you've seen the journey of where it started and where it's gone to. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
yeah, very much so.
Feels fantastic. We had one speaker who, when we were doing the first rehearsal, he announced, "I'm profoundly deaf," in a beautifully clear, resonant voice. And I'm going, as a speech pathologist by training, I'm going, hang on a minute, sunshine. He had a cochlear implant, and his whole talk was around the who got the disability, because his opening was, "Who here gets home from a day at work and just wants to switch off?" Raised hands all over the place. I just have. I can't hear a thing now. Who's got the disability? It was such a profound thing. But my background said, "Oi, come here, sunshine. I want to talk to you." Because from a clinical perspective, I wanted to know how things are done. Now, from his perspective, he said, "Look, please, can I go first? Because it is such an effort for me to, because even although I've got this buzz going on in my ear, I'm still lip reading. And it is such an effort, exhausting mental effort, to sit through all of these before I get on, if you're going to put me towards the end. Can I please go first?" And we said, "Of course." He read that room beautifully. I knew his talk, but he went off piste, and I could see the TEDx team going. Something he had said didn't really land well, but he did go off piste, and I was going, "Keep going, sunshine." And he brought it back, and these guys sort of visibly relaxed, because he didn't include anything that included stats that needed to be fact checked. And so they were all right, and they could breathe again. But he read that room so well. He did a
Yeah,
phenomenal job. But as I said, he was warned, we warned all of them, if you stray off piste, do not include anything that the guys have not checked. Because if you do, you will not be posted. Yeah.
I need to use that line actually because I hadn't used that line.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of people that have not memorized their talk. So one was Levi, perfectly fine, because
Yeah.
the whole point of his talk was he had a traumatic brain injury a few years earlier on a
Yep.
skateboard. I think he was
Right.
around 20, 25 at the time of the talk, and he had the skateboard accident when he was 18. So he
Oh,
really had trouble
yes.
memorizing anything. He
Yes.
did the work and he did memorize the whole talk, really. But I let him have cue cards in
Yep.
case he needed them. And he might have
Yes.
looked to them once or twice through the talk, but he didn't really notice. Um, and we had to have him early. I think I put him on second, but he goes, "I have to be in the," because it was a whole day thing, this one.
Yeah.
He said, "I have to go on early because if I'm in the afternoon, I'll fall asleep." Like,
Yeah.
brain injury,
Yeah.
which was fine. So he did really well. But we had another professor who didn't want to do any memorization exercise. And in the end, he was doing a lot of traveling. A lot of these TEDx speakers are very busy people. It's
Oh,
really
they
hard
do.
to corral
Yes.
them, which is fine. It's part of, that's why we have them.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was traveling around the world and all this rest of the thing, and basically he did no work. So he goes, "Well, I need to read it." And I'm like, "There's no lectern." So we actually sat him down because he was an older guy, white hair, looked a little Santa-ish. So we sat him down in a chair and put a, a leather binder in
Oh,
his lap. And it was like he was storytelling. So it worked, not ideal, not happy with it. But then he went off-piste, as you said. I love that. I have to remember that. And he went places you're not supposed to go. Started talking about politics, about back in the
oh,
day when I was knocking doors for Obama in Florida, and oh my God, and I'm pulling my hair out, what's left of
yeah.
it in the the back of the stage. But he waffled on for 25, 28 minutes. So a TEDx talk is 18 minutes is the edited talk
Max.
length. And I train all our speakers to do 15, like
Yeah.
max. I mean, it's fine if you do a 10-minute talk or whatever, but yeah, we don't want to go over 15 as a rule, and that gives you a little bit of leeway.
Mm.
Because if you're a speaker and you go over the 18 minutes, you don't get to say what gets cut. You don't get to
Yeah.
say what gets cut out of your talk. You
Yes.
don't, the editing is done by somebody else. So don't go there. Just don't do it. But yeah, the off-piste thing,
Yeah.
I will remember that. That's a good hint.
Well, I mean, we had our first meeting with some of the speakers because, as you say, a lot of them are busy professionals and they're buzzing off here, there, and everywhere. And one of them said to the night, because University of Western Australia is entirely student run, so the franchisee is a student, all the staff, the volunteers are all students. And for years, I was trying to get them to write down their basic operating procedures because they weren't passed on from year to year. So the volunteer coaches who were giving their time out of the goodness of their heart came in, and this one was going, "Have you not had that passed on to you?" No. There was a little frustration on my part. But hey-ho. One
We
of
we we
the potential
we
speakers said,
found the same with TEDx-worthy because I built the coaching team. We had three in the end of us coaching, and we coached together in unison. We worked really
yeah,
closely together. But yeah, the marketing side and every other part of it, the volunteers just turned over all the
yeah,
time, and
yes.
it was very frustrating, to be honest with you.
Because nobody passed that information on. Anyway, the speakers were saying, "So we've got 18 minutes, haven't we?" And I looked at the lad from the speakers and went, "How many speakers have we got?" Uh, we got 16. I went to the speaker, "No, you haven't got 18 minutes." And this guy's going, "Oh, yeah." I went, "Do the maths. You cannot have that many people doing 18-minute talks in that day." Oh, so I said to the speakers, "You're aiming for 12 minutes, 15 minutes max. Anything over that, there'll be a little bit of wriggle room, but don't look to go for the full 18 minutes." And they go, "Oh, thank you." And then suddenly all eyes were on me for the questions because I did seem to know what I was talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, we did that this year as well because we we said right, we'll do have 12 speakers. We're going to do six in each of these
Yes.
areas, and so we went through together. So I'm a just the coach. In TEDx Ruakura, I had a little more say. In this one, I'm just the coach. I don't have any say. They're paying me though, which is good. So I'm
Oh,
happy with that.
well
Yes.
done.
So that's cool. But we sat together and we did the selection. We went through the selection,
Yeah.
watched their videos we'd asked them to do and things like that. So go, oh, these are the 12. Next minute, it's 14. It's 14 speakers. So that were showing up, which was fine because we're doing 2 evenings,
Yeah.
which is 7 each, and that was fine. So it was really good. But you can't get over the importance of preparation. I mean, even if you are just doing, and I don't want to say just, but if you're doing a book tour where you're talking about your book, preparation is really, really important.
Yes.
I'll tell you a quick story of one I when I was younger. So when when you're 25 and you knew everything, you just cocky
Yeah.
ass.
Yes.
I remember that. I was definitely cocky. At 25, I'd lived in the UK for a year. I'd lived in Spain for 2 years. I had a black belt in Kyokushin karate. I was running a dojo, and I was working in the sales environment. So they had a sales conference, and they said, "Do you want to speak?" And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, cool." Um, so I decided it would be cool if I came up on stage in my gi, in my karate uniform with my black belt on. And I'd talk about breaking through barriers. And at the very end, I'd punch through a board because, and at that point, like I'd broken hundreds of boards. I'd done demonstrations around the world. I was not phased at that at all. That was
Yeah.
just the regular for me. However, I made an error. The wood that I had to break, I'd left in my van in winter for a while, and it was very damp. I didn't realize that. Now, I don't know if you've ever tried to break damp wood with an axe. You can't. It just bounces off. An axe bounces off. A hammer bounces off. It's not good. So we get to the ultimate point of my talk, and I start punching this board, and it's not going to break. And after I hit it a few times, bloody knuckles and all, it's like, yep, this isn't going to work. And so I quickly twisted the end of the talk to say something different and got off rather embarrassed. But that embarrassment and those bloody knuckles taught me the importance of preparation, and I've been well prepared ever since. So where are you not prepared at home? If you're listening to this and you're thinking about doing a talk on your book or whatever, where are you not prepared? That's what you want to think about.
Yeah. Oh, that's a very good lesson and a very good deep question to ask. Yeah. I'm sitting here with this because I'm speaking at a summit next week and going, about time you did some work on that, Wendy, isn't it? I do know my subject pretty well, but that doesn't stop the need for preparation. Because otherwise, what was the old adage? If you fail to prepare, you prepare to fail.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess we've already said that there's never one way to skin a cat, right? There's 1,000 ways to do it, 1,000,000 ways to do it. So as a coach, I'm not here to tell you how to do your talk. I'm not here to tell you because you know what you know. And what works for me may not work for you. What works for you may not work for me. So my role, as I see it, is to be the surrogate audience, first of all. I don't understand which is easy for me because I don't know anything. So when they're talking about the volcanologists talk about volcanoes, or the marine biologists talk about, I don't know any of that stuff. So I can be that audience that goes, yeah, you lost me because I don't know what that is, right?
Yeah.
So that's a big part of my role.
Yes.
Looking for what we mentioned before, these speed bumps, where a speed bump is where the talk goes on, but they say something and you go, hang on, I don't know what that means. And you're so busy thinking about that thing, you've missed the next bit of the talk, right? Yes. A really good example we had was a few years ago. We had Linda speak, and she was doing health and safety. And the line she used originally was, after Pike River, everything changed. Now, everybody in New Zealand, everybody in that room knew exactly what she meant.
Yeah.
But when it gets on the global stage, on the video, nobody outside of New Zealand will know what that is. So all we had to do to change that was, after the Pike River mining disaster, everything changed. That gives a context for everybody outside of the country. They may not be aware of it, but they know what a mining disaster is. So they're like, right.
Yeah.
So that's the sort of thing that you want to be aware of, these speed bumps when you go through that sort of thing.
Particularly, if I may interject at this point, but TEDx is a very different animal because you are speaking to the people in front and also you're speaking to the camera. So that you've got two different audiences. And absolutely, as you say, Chris, the local people will know that. But you've always got to keep an ear out for the fact that this is a global audience. And not everybody's going to understand. And lost in translation, just because you speak English doesn't mean that English native speakers from, in your case, Australia, Canada, the States, the UK, doesn't necessarily mean they're going to understand you. Just putting that there. Yeah.
There are idioms we all use that we just think are so universal, and they're not. And I've been caught out with that many times as well.
Yeah.
And even the other day, my accent was upsetting. I told the story that we just told about the karate punching the
Yeah.
board, and I just said wet wood, and they're like, I don't know what wet wood is. What's wet wood? I was like, it's wood that's not dry. But it was the accent, so you've got to be very clear
Oh, yeah.
about those
Yeah.
things.
On the accent front, slightly different situation. We were talking about pitching. I was at a networking meeting when there was a gentleman from East Europe who was a property manager. And he was busy talking about being this property manager in his 30-second pitch. And I did a quick scan of the room and people going, and I called him out on it afterwards. I said, look, I'm not going to say anything about some of the other words that you haven't quite got the stress in the right place, but this is costing you money, mate, because I watched people. If you interjected the property here, you lost people until there when the context went, oh, property manager. But in that bit in between, you'd lost them completely. You've only got 30
Yep.
seconds. You need to make sure that particularly a word about your job, your service, is said in a way that people understand. And he went,
Yep.
oh, so I did a bit of coaching going, property manager, property manager. We jump on the first one, property manager, not property. And one,
Yep.
because I had him bouncing on the syllables, and he realized after that, and he just said to somebody, she's just saved my business. And I said, yeah, can I get a testimonial off that, please? He never did. But that's the thing, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Accents are really important because what we think we can understand, and the audience in front of you can. I mean,
Oh, I talk normal.
you and I both know that we sit in groups with North Americans, and they go, "Oh, keep talking. I love the accent. I love the accent." And you go, "Yeah, it's not really an accent where I come from, but okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
good fun, good fun."
It is amusing. And yeah, and everybody's the same. Everybody goes, yeah, but I speak normal. I speak normal. Of course you do. Like you do where you are.
Yeah,
But it is fascinating. I don't know about you, and I'm curious, and this is off topic a little bit, I've got to say, but when I travel, I'm one of those people that pick up others' accents really quickly without trying. And sometimes people go, particularly I remember in Ireland, are you taking the piss? And I'm like, no, I just can't help it. I'm a mimic. I just end up
it's called a
mimicking these.
chameleon. There is
Yeah.
actually a name for it. You're a
Oh,
chameleon,
right.
like me. I was talking to a mutual friend of ours the other day and saying that there's a department store here in Puerto Vallarta called Liverpool. She went, "Oh, Liverpool!" And so we were then sort of riffing in Scout, and it was just so funny because it was Liverpool here in Mexico here, and it's quite different. But yeah, the UK is well known for its regional accents, and as a
Yeah.
child, I had an ear for picking up accents. I too am a chameleon. And when we were students, we had a girl from Belfast, we had a lad from Southeast London, and he picked up her sing-songy intonation patterns. And that was really funny when he had his Southeast London accent with the intonation patterns. And I'm just sitting back going, we're all at it, aren't
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
we?
because my mother's from Manchester
Oh, right.
and she came over when she was 16 with a family. Family
Uh,
immigrated when she was 16. And people still talk to her now and go, "Oh, how long have you been over?" Because she's been yeah, in New Zealand for 70 years or whatever it is now. And so she's got a strong accent. I was the oldest. I grew up with a very strong accent till a teacher beat it out of me. Back in the day, good old days when teachers could beat
yes.
you. Um, and and so I think it's from that I just picked up this, oh, I can just change an
Yeah.
accent or
Well,
yeah.
it's part of the human need to belong. If you stand out too much, I think about it from the old caveman perspective. If you stood out
Yeah.
too much, you were pushed out.
Yeah.
So, and again, that's where the being scared of public speaking comes from. Because if I put my head above the parapet and I say something you don't like, I could literally die. It's
Yeah.
hardwired into the DNA. So there you go, audience. If you're worried about doing public speaking and you're nervous, that's why. And you can work through it and out the other side.
I'll give you a quick thing to think about for people worried about that in particular, because I get that a lot. People go, "Oh, I'm not an expert in this," or "I know I don't want to say this thing because it could be up to debate or whatever."
Yeah.
So if you're thinking about that in terms of what you're talking about, focus on what your experience was with that thing. Talk about your experience in this, because nobody can argue with your experience. Your experience is your experience. You're an
Yeah.
expert on your
Yeah.
experience, right?
Absolutely.
So if in doubt, if you're worried about it, say, this is what I've found. I did this thing. This is what happened to me. And these are
Yeah.
the conclusions I drew. Now, people can debate those conclusions because they go, oh, well, I had this different experience, but they're not going to refute what you've said. You know what I mean? So you can build a lot of confidence in that if you look at things in that way. It's really important.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you. Well, audience, this has been an unusual podcast because I haven't done any of the questions that we normally ask. So I'm going to do a quick recap
Yes.
because normally I would ask what prompted you to start writing. But we've heard that your book writing was, I want to prove that I can do it. So we kind of covered that. Then I was going to ask you about your speaking journey. And we've heard that you were a cocky little salesman who wanted to do that first and then realized that that was possibly not that. But you
Well,
also,
I will tell you what I got a basic background in my speaking was from karate of all things. So I left school at 16. I had a job. One of the guys in at work said, "Hey, do you want to come to a karate club?" I'm like, "Okay." And I was tiny too at 16. I grew when I was 18. Like I was tiny. So I went along and I found it fascinating. I was getting beaten up a lot by the other karate people because I was so small, but I was definitely a nerd. So I knew all their Japanese words and I could go down that nerd aspect of it. So I was okay with that. But I ended up teaching classes, and as you get higher in the ranks, you teach, and then you black belt. You're sort of taking classes all the time, and I think a lot of my teaching, or my ability on stage, was
yeah,
because I used to run a 2 hour adult class twice a week, and you've got to make it different every time, and you've got to be very precise in your instructions, or somebody gets a broken nose, or
yeah,
something, like somebody gets hurt. So, like I do. So you've got to be very careful and do that. So it's interesting because it wasn't till much later when I started doing some trainings and teaching people and speaking on stage, and I felt comfortable. And they're like, "Why do you feel so comfortable on stage?" I'm like, "I don't know." Oh yeah, it would be because I did years and
yeah,
years of week in, week out, standing in front of people, telling them what to do.
yeah.
Yeah,
So there's teaching is I'm hearing your teaching is your forte, your
yeah.
sweet
I'm
spot.
much better on workshops than I am on a stage giving a talk. I
Yeah,
can do that, but workshops is
yeah.
where I really enjoy
Yeah,
myself.
I would concur for myself as well because I'm far more of a teacher. My mother was one. My brother is one. I swore blind I would never be a teacher, which is why I went into speech pathology. And people were saying, "But you're teaching." I went, not quite the same. Anyway, so speaking, your sweet spot is in the teaching department. Got it. Okay. We were also going to ask, what is it that you're working on at the moment? Tell us what's exciting you in your life.
Okay, so this is early, um, but I've
Have you got
started
an
a
exclusive?
yeah, well, not exclusive, but pretty close to. I haven't been advertising it, so yeah, I guess so. Um, I have been putting together a community on the platform School, if you're aware of that,
Okay.
and it's called the Compelling Communicators Community. And so it's for people that want to get better at speaking or
Mhm.
doing whatever with a more compelling communications.
Right.
And so I have been thinking about this for a long time. And then when we got the TEDx contract again this year, I was like, all right, okay, I'm going to deliver all the courses on this platform. So we're going to do it this way. And So I set it up. And so we had the 14 speakers that are on there. And
Hmm.
I invited a few friends, the old coaches that I had working with me at TEDx-worthy, and a few other speakers that I know and have worked with in the past and stuff. So I think and then some randoms have joined since. So we've got about 35 in this group. It's a free community.
Hmm.
Um, there'll be, there will be after Christmas when I get all my work done. I nearly said something else. Um, I will have some courses in there. So basically explaining the framework of what I do with teaching TEDx speakers, doing the
Hmm.
framework I do for pitching. So there's a different framework for that because it's quite a different thing. Uh, a lot of similarities between the two, but they are
Yeah,
different.
they're both
And
performances, aren't they?
yeah, they're both performances, and the expectations are different out of them. And one
Yeah,
of the bigger differences is that, and you know this, we know our TEDx audience. So we don't have to worry about the audience so much because we know it. It's sort of
hmm,
built into the program. Whereas the investment thing, that's a very different thing. You have to know
yeah,
that audience. You don't know which investors are in the room. You don't know if you're focusing on medical or health startup, then you need to know how many of those know that health area and how many you have to explain it to
yeah,
in the 5 minutes you've got on stage or
yes.
whatever it is, because they're even tighter usually.
Mhm.
So yeah. So anyway, that's what I'm working on is this community. I need
Mhm.
to do a lot more work on that. I want to be getting a little bit more visible on YouTube. So I've got a YouTube
Okay.
channel that I've had sitting there for a long time and done very little with. And so the new year will be much more YouTube content and a lot of work in this community where we'll do hot seats. I share information, and there'll be a few free courses when I get them done over the Christmas break on
So
frame.
Christmas is not a break for you, is what I'm hearing.
Christmas is never a break for me. I'm going down to see Dad for a week. He's getting on. I'm going to catch up with family, so I won't do
Yeah.
anything for that week. I've got 2 weeks off, so the other week
Good,
I will get a lot
good,
of stuff
good,
done.
good. Audience, if you're not familiar with this podcast, why not? We have dynamic show notes. So what I mean by that is when a guest pings me later and goes, something else has come up. I go, oh, I go back in, I change the show notes with the new link that they've given me. I do a quick socials blast. Do you remember that fascinating conversation I had with Chris? Well, go back and watch it again and look at the show notes because something's changed. Okay, that's just the dynamic show notes. So absolutely, Chris, we will put all your links in the show notes and give me the green light when you want people to really publicize the YouTube channel.
Okay, all right. But yeah, people can come and join the community now if you like,
Ooh,
bearing in mind that it's not all there yet. The classes aren't finished yet. I've got to do all that, but
you'll
it's
be
free.
OGers, won't you? Is that what we're
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's free, so
Oh,
you won't lose anything from it. Be
cool.
good.
Thank you. Thank you so much. One of the other questions I ask is how do you embody your words when you take them from page to stage? Now, this is a bit difficult because you're not talking about your book. So I think we've probably got the measure of the amount of embodiment that you do because you've shown us all the way through our conversation. So I think we can leave that one. So as we're winding up then, Chris, can you give us some final words of wisdom?
There's a foundation to everything with communication, whether you're doing a pitch, whether you're doing a TEDx talk, whether you're doing a book tour, and and by a foundation, I like to use a pyramid structure as a structure. The base has to be wide enough to support the next thing.
Mhm.
If it's shorter and the next thing's bigger, you've got an inverted pyramid and it'll tip over.
Yeah.
You've got to have the base. And the base is clarity. The first thing you need is clarity. And you start not with the audience, but with yourself. Why am I doing this? What am I trying to get out of this? How does this fit into the overall strategy of what I'm doing? You know, whether it's
Mhm.
the book thing or whether you're running a business, how does this talk fit into that?
Yeah.
Without that clarity, you can't write a talk, let alone give a talk. So
Yes.
it starts with clarity.
Hmm.
Then on top of that, the next layer for the TEDx framework, we go with structure. How are we going to structure this talk and that sort of thing? Then we go to flow. And the thing with flow is we change from visual, because when you're doing structure, you want to write it because you're going to copy and paste it, move it around. But
Yeah.
the key thing is to get out of the visual, screw up the paper, throw it away, and you've got to have it. We do a oral exercise. You do it like you learn a song. You don't learn a
Mm.
song by reading it every time. You listen to
No.
it and you sing along. You listen to it and you sing along. And it it's a different sort of memory. The verbal memory is different from a visual memory.
Mm.
And that's what holds people back. They think they have to remember it visually. You don't. It's like you learn a song or like you tell a joke. If you're good at telling jokes, you know there are certain pillars in that joke. If you get them out of order, it's not going to work. You got to get them in the right order. You don't have to
Yeah.
say the exact same words every time,
Yeah.
but you do have to say it in the right order.
Yeah.
And that then flows on to performance. So
Nice.
everything rests on the next thing. So
Yes.
if you don't get that clarity right at the beginning, and that's what
Mhm.
it's the unsexy work that people jump past and they go straight to, I want to speak well. No, you want to know why you're doing this
Why?
first, what you're trying
Yeah.
to achieve,
Yeah.
what that will look like. And then
Yes.
when you're starting to write it, you can keep referring back to that and go, am I hitting the mark or am I not? And that will be what makes a really good talk. I know that was a long word of wisdom, but
Well,
yeah,
no, 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 because I mean, I'm visualizing, I'm visualizing our pyramid here, and that makes perfect sense. And absolutely, when I start working with somebody, my first four questions are, why you? Why this message? Why this audience? Why now? Sort those out, then we move on. But yeah,
yeah,
you've got to have that clarity, haven't you? Because you say, if you don't know your why, it's like putting the foundations in. And the
yeah.
higher up you want to go in terms of your speaking skills, the deeper you got to start. Yeah.
And those four questions you asked too, that's what we ask our nominated speakers to do in their 2 minute
Yeah.
video.
Yeah.
Why? Why? What are you talking about? Why are you talking about? Why is now the time to talk about it?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so, yeah, it's perfect.
Chris, I love speaking with you. Audience, don't you realize that? I mean, we were on before we hit record for about 10 minutes already, and we're way over time in terms of this podcast recording. But nevertheless, Chris and I could talk forever. We're both very, very
Sadly,
chatty people. So thank you so much, Chris, for sharing your from page to stage.
my
For now,
pleasure. I'll be
bye
happy
from us.
to do it again.
Oh, yes, please. See you later.